Digital Marketing Radio, episode 94, How to Start an E-Commerce Business. DigitalMarketingRadio.com. I'm David Bain, and this is Digital Marketing Radio, weekly interviews with digital marketing experts. Find out more about everything we do at DigitalMarketingRadio.com. The big interview with David Bain. So today I'm joined by Paul RYAZANOV. Paul, welcome to DMR.
Good morning, good afternoon for everyone who join us from different parts of the world. It's nice to be here. Thanks, David, for inviting us.
Well, thanks for joining me. That's a great way to start off. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. But not goodbye yet.
Yeah, that's right.
So Paul's an event speaker, and he's a digital marketing expert. He tends to have a bit of a focus on helping retail businesses with their e-commerce strategy. You can find him over at the website magcloud.net, but I'm sure he'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. But Paul, you've spoken at quite a few events recently across the US. So how did you actually get started as an event speaker?
Well, I mean, I will tell you this was the funny story because traditionally US business, US conferences is something that everyone wants to get in, and especially for the person like me who originated from the Ukraine, it was very tough to get there. But the first thing happens, I was just a little bit proactive. I joined PopCon back in Vegas 2012 as a just attendee, and they had the line, like open line for everyone who willing to share the expertise for like 7 minutes, like a, basically speech from the attendee. And so I joined this line, speak for the 7 minutes in front of audience. And basically the next year when I sent the request to participate as a speaker panel, I just mentioned that I already, had some sort of traction with the PopCon, and they were so kind to just invite, just to explore. Basically, the first time I get maybe like 20 minutes panel, and I have to fly all around from the Ukraine to the Vegas, for like 70 hours just for the 20 minutes of my spiel. But after that, I've got some good feedbacks from the audiences, people tweeting and sending some messages, private messages, and then it just go one by one. I mean, I've got the invitation to SWIMA conference in Miami and so on, because basically people are looking for not just the expert, but also for expert who passionate about what they do. And that's why if you're passionate about what you do, if you drive your passion in front of the audience, then basically you'll get you'll get a lot more tractions and you'll get some invite. So I will engage anyone who participate in the online marketing. Just don't be afraid. Get to the site, send a message, propose the topic, and if you pass through, I mean, impossible is nothing. You can just get through.
That's a great story, and I guess the main takeaway is just to be prepared when you're given the opportunity, because you were given the opportunity to speak for those 7 minutes, and you must have been fairly ready to make a little speech then. What did you do your initial 7-minute speech on?
The good thing is I had a really great expertise with the landing page optimization, even like before all of those conferences. So I've got some really nice samples, and I likely that those samples were for high-level brands in the United States. And basically, I've got something that was not just a generic, but it was like a real result, like take this landing page, take that landing page, and then I was able to just provide the results, which one converts better. And again, that happens in 2012 when conversion rate optimization and landing page optimization, it was like the beginning of the story. Right now, you can get a lot of topics about landing page optimization, but in 2012, this was kind of even for the US. So I think it was just the right topic in the right time, that it was hot in the market, and some level of the expertise it was really, really useful for me. So 7 minutes I had about the landing page optimization.
Okay, was that about the time that Google were bringing about their split testing tool? Because didn't they have, I can't even remember the name of it, the split testing tool that they've integrated now into Google Analytics, and that was a standalone tool at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think back in 2012, we've got some extra tools like Optimizely already up and running, but obviously, uh, not much of the digital marketers use that tool.
Mm.
It was just the beginning of the story, even for them. So we used to work with like something that Google brings us through the analytics. Um, so Google Experiment tool is something that we used in 2012. But again, right now you can get tons of those services. Some of them based in the European market, some of them in the US. So just plenty of them right now. And it does not really matter which one you do use right now, because in common practices, it's just quite similar. The only difference is just the pricing model, the billing model, etc., packages. But I mean, overall, the conversion rate optimization right now is less about the tool because you've got already. It's more about how clever are you with the ideas
Hmm.
and what's exactly if you know what you're doing, if you know what to test.
Okay, it's incredible because I mean that's just 3 years ago, but of course, digital marketing moves on a lot every single year. So 3 years in digital marketing is really like 20 years in business. The amount of improvement that happens in terms of software, in terms of accessibility with people with greater broadband speeds, the options and the development just moves at such a rapid pace. Now, one of the areas that you're focusing a little bit more on now is e-commerce. Why are you focusing on that? And what would you say are the biggest e-commerce trends at the moment in 2015?
Well, I get started with e-commerce business, I think back in 2005 when we had only just eCommerce as a major platform, so it was quite a long time ago. And I launched my first product. It's called w3rent.com. It was just about renting the stuff. So we delivered this product worldwide in different countries, sold maybe about 1.5 million copies in
Wow.
the revenue. It was the trend in the United States and on DVD rental, game rental, if you recall 2005. So that's how it gets started. And my focus on that time was mostly on the development side of that.
Mm.
And in 2012, when the bunch of the different software, open source software appeared for the e-commerce, I decided that I want to switch a little bit to the marketing side, so I can get the full picture of how people shop, how they buy, so I can bring more value to my own clients, not just develop the stuff, not just develop the e-commerce store, but also guide them how to convert the visitors, how to get the visitors, and how to convert them into their buyers. So that's how I get to the e-commerce. And in 2000, I think 11, I've got some tractions with Magento, and we decided to play with Magento as the leader e-commerce platform. And we've got some invites to visit the office in Los Angeles. We've got some partnership with them. So, and yeah, and I still keep going and still keep focusing on the retail business.
Right, and you also still focus on Magento as well.
Yeah, I still focus on the Magento. I keep an eye on other techniques, on other technologies that's absolutely growing fast. Platform like BigCommerce, Shopify, WooCommerce, PrestaShop. So I have to keep an eye on all of those platforms because they actually help to grow the e-commerce ecosystem in general. So I keep an eye, but I still might focus on the Magento. The only reason why I keep focusing on the Magento because the major players that I'm working with, just recently, I mean, a few weeks ago, we get some research from Inc. 5000 companies in the United States in the retail niche. and I think at least 30% of those sites that in 5,000 list, they utilize Magento as an e-commerce platform. So number two, it was WooCommerce, that basically the plugin for the WordPress. And all the rest businesses, they still stay with their old school, platforms. So I think that the good trends for them will be to migrate for something new. And especially the good thing about the Magento, it really has a great ecosystem around their brand. I mean, firstly, you can beat eBay. eBay is the largest, retailer brand, but they have got a good ecosystem around other companies like digital marketing developers, hosting providers. So if you choose the Magento, you will definitely be in the good hands, and you can scale your business pretty fast by utilizing services provided by those companies.
So if you're speaking to an entrepreneur looking to start an e-commerce business and they're not tied to a platform, what would you say, apart from maybe the ecosystem of support, what would you say are the benefits of them going with Magento over a Shopify or a WooCommerce or something like that?
That's a great question that I get, every single time. So Shopify is absolutely maybe the easiest way to try the business, but same way as any other software as a service platform, it's easy to start, but it is not really easy to leave. So you stay with this platform, and behind of software as a service, you've got some sort of limitation. So you can't add your custom logic, you can't change, design the way you want, you can't change the checkout process and make it, more easy. So for me as a conversion expert, right, if I want to change a little bit like the Shopify checkout process, it's near to, it's almost impossible. So I have to stick with I have to play with the rules that Shopify, gave us. But obviously, Shopify is probably one of the cheapest options. So if you just, your business, when it comes to choosing the platform, you have to think in front, up front. So you have to think about how I can get started cheaper to stay within the budget, and how I can keep that scalable for the future. So, and that's why we created the Mage Cloud, just to let people start very easy with the platform that is ready to be scaled in the future.
Okay, so I can understand the benefits then of Magento over Shopify, but what about Magento over WooCommerce? Because you talked about perhaps not being able to change the checkout process of Shopify, but WooCommerce is obviously based on WordPress, so you have more access to be able to split test different things within there. Are you saying that perhaps WooCommerce isn't quite as scalable as Magento?
Well, if you get an access to your store, then you can scale it the way you want it. And my previous speech about like difference between Shopify and Magento, it was pretty much about software as a service platform with the hosted standalone e-commerce solution. If we compare Magento with the WooCommerce, I do release both of them are quite popular. And if we go to the Google Trends, you will see that the trends for the Magento is it's a little bit higher, and especially for the European market, it's really much higher. The only problem that probably WooCommerce, it's a little bit more easy for the users that want to just sell, basic stuff. They don't really think about like 360-degree marketing plan, or like integration with POS and stuff like that, integration with eBay, Amazon. So WooCommerce, I think it's for the smaller businesses, for the like really, really small business. They can utilize that. But
would it be possible for someone to start with WooCommerce because it was easier for them to actually set it up themselves and actually transfer to Magento at some point in the future, or is that quite challenging?
Well, you can transfer from one platform to another. at any single time. And we partner with Cloud. We partner with the service called Card to Card that help you to transfer your data from one platform to another. So that's quite good service, to be honest. So the challenge with WooCommerce is WordPress platform. It's still open source, and in my opinion, the vulnerability of that platform is a lot, higher than with the Magento. Magento is well-tested, PCI compliant business, but with the WooCommerce, maybe just recently, like a couple of days ago, I've got the message from Search Engine Journal that the most popular SEO plugin for the WordPress, it's what was the name? Oh gosh, I forgot the name. What's the most popular SEO plugin for the WordPress?
Is it the Yoast plugin?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The Yoast plugin. Yeah. So it's you have to update your plugin, because right now, if you're using the oldest version,
yeah,
you can
get
that's right. Yeah, so it just happened like a few days ago, and I think that might be challenging for the businesses, like for the companies that basically $1 million to $5 million revenue.
Okay, so Magento hasn't got so much of a history of being hacked, basically.
I mean, it's always easy to. I mean, if you, in my opinion, like in my expertise, Magento, we never get hacked with Magento. So, I mean, with WooCommerce again, the challenge is just the PCI compliant, and I think Magento protected, much higher in terms of that.
Okay. Well, there's a long discussion I'm sure we could continue to have about e-commerce, but I'm also keen to have your opinion in terms of digital marketing in general. So what's happened in the past and what's happening now and maybe in the future as well. So moving on to
software I couldn't live without.
So what software do you currently use in your business that if someone took away from you, it would significantly impact your marketing success?
Well, here's the couple of sources that I mean, I'm personally responsible for the conversion rate optimization. So obviously, if I would not be able to get that, I will die. So Optimizely, I will just tell that Optimizely is something that I'm using like day by day, and I would recommend everyone to just join that. For the conversion rate optimization, I would also recommend you to install RYAZANOV or any type of the heat mapping tool that will bring you some good value. I mean, if you don't really install it, and I see a lot of my clients when they came to me to optimize the conversions, they have no idea what is heat mapping. Number 3 software that I would recommend everyone to test, it's iQuant. This is the eye tracking tool. So even before you start doing your design of your page or the product page, you can just use iQuant with like a trial. You upload your image, and iQuant will predict the result. What is the section of the page catch the user eye. That's 3 different tools that I would recommend in terms of conversion rate optimization.
Okay, that's great tips there, and it certainly sounds like you're an absolute expert in conversion rate optimization there as well. But should someone just focus on conversion rate optimization if they have an e-commerce site, or is a tool like Optimizely important to use even if you just have some kind of brand website that doesn't focus on e-commerce?
Well, let's see. Conversion, it's for every single business, it's a conversion funnel. I mean, it might be different. For some sort of business, it could be lead generation. For some of the businesses, it needs to be like phone calls, and it's not just the e-commerce, right? So it just depends on your goal, what you want visitors of your site to do there, what is the end result of the visitor. I call that as a conversion. So for example, you might get focus and get the phone calls for the client. You have to somehow build your page so the phone number will be in front of the people when they need it. It's just for the e-commerce, it's much easier to determine what is the goal. So the goal is just the order placement. But again, every single website, every single business, they have a conversion goal. So optimizing conversion funnel, it's a very tough and it's a very interesting process. The good thing about conversion is just it takes. I mean, if you optimize, drive the relevant traffic, then conversion will be quite low, right? So conversion, we have like two piece of cake, right? One piece just to drive the right traffic, and another piece is just to convert it right. So that's why, in my opinion, conversion is the key in digital marketing.
So, any type of website, if you're focused on optimizing your website, then you need to focus on conversions, and it's nothing to do with e-commerce at all. So a slightly more challenging question, though: what kind of software have you become aware of, and you're not using at the moment, but you intend to try perhaps at some point in the near future because you've heard good things about it?
Well, probably one of the software that I'm kind of excited to try. It's company called Outreach.io. Maybe it's not relevant to the conversion, but it's a great tool for automate like reminders and stuff like that. So basically, it's like a CRM tool to get a hold of any single client that you have, and you can create like a bunch of the groups of the emails with reminders, etc. And those emails will be sent automatically based on the specific roles. It's kind of automated marketing tool like Acton or Infusionsoft, stuff like that. But it is more, it's I think it's a little bit cheaper, and I think it's more targeting to people who handle like business development and stuff like that. So
Okay.
that's solve that I recently discovered, and I'm on the trial with them. So I just well, and I will just give you some things. So I know that you recently get involved with analytics SEO. So I would probably want to try that because I'm using right now different tools for for the business research, for the competitor analysis. And it looks like analytics SEO is something that combines different components under the one roof. So that's probably something that I will try next.
That sounds great, yeah, and there are just so many incredible tools out there at the moment. But what I'll do is I'll include links to all of the resources that you recommend and hope to try underneath the show post at digitalmarketingradio.com. But moving on to...
I wish I would have.
So I'd like to look back on the very first day that you're involved in trying to market a business online. What didn't you do so well? What do you wish that you would have done differently?
It's a great question. And I think that's basically something that relevant to a lot of businesses, not just e-commerce, but any other stuff. So if you go back to Facebook marketing like a couple of years ago, we tried Facebook for the first time. It was not really successful for us, but right now, when we get to the point when Facebook launched so many interesting stuff and improved the algorithm, and I think that was the good fail for us initially. And right now, Facebook is starting to be a good trend for us to generate the relevant traffic. So maybe I'm not quite sure if I replied to your question the way you wanted, but I think that was my frustration from the first day, and right now I'm more or less satisfied with what we received. Okay. And for some businesses, what I see as a trend, and that's something that I want to predict, that the social media marketing and the content marketing distributions of the social network will either kill in the long run, will either kill the AdWords and like any kind of PPC campaigns. So what we are doing right now, I mean, obviously we still spend money with the Google AdWords for any e-commerce business, like with Google Shopping campaign and stuff like that. But for every single business, we pushing money into a long-term run, like social media campaigns, to stay in front of people, to engage them with our content. And the recent acquisition of Facebook with the company Define.com that happened like maybe a week ago, I think for e-commerce trend in 2015, we should see Facebook launching a very targeted, opportunity for me to sell the stuff on the Facebook in a more official way than we do right now. So it could be like buy something without leaving the Facebook app. Like everyone talked about the mobile those days, so that's obviously the trend. So I think what will happen in 2015 as a trend is like Facebook will overkill the e-commerce market significantly with the new acquisition of Define.
Okay, so going back to what you said before, it sounded like you got frustrated with Facebook, and that could have been Facebook's fault for not offering a great product or experience for you as an advertiser. But also, as an advertiser, it's important not to have too many preconceptions and to try not to bring your own frustrations into the decision-making mix. And it's all about whether or not the advertising medium is effective for your business. It's not whether about you like it, it's whether it's good and right to bring in customers to your business.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if I see the success of my clients with whenever what we do, I would love, if I would even hate the the interface, etc., if I see the results that we bring to the business, I will be happy. I can, everyone climbs against like a Windows interface and stuff like that, but everyone uses the Windows. So, and PC, I think, still on top of that. So, my frustration is not just like personal, etc. It's just based on the results. And I think when you start the business, it just needs some time for you to adjust the algorithm, etc. And right now, I've got some clients that initially tried Facebook like 2 years ago, and when I engaged them to try right now, they're a little bit skeptical because they actually did some ads, they burned the money over there. But those days, with all those, retargeting options, all those lookalike audiences, with all those, new techniques, with multi-product ads, with the video as a viral point. So we've got right now traction like the post-engagement cost is like 1 cent per user with the video ads. And right now, again, probably I will just give some advice here. We have started using the tool called socialengage.com. that helped me to build the video with the lead capture form.
Right.
So you watch the video for 30 seconds, and then the small form, lead capture form, appear when you end up to watch the video.
And is that within your Facebook app?
It's within your video when you doing like video advertisement with the Facebook.
Okay.
You just prepare the video in the very specific way. So if you go to socialengage.com, you will see there is quite a good amount of, there's a great video that explains to you how it works, etc. I hope I give them some free credits on that, on your radio.
It'll come back to you as benefit in the future. Maybe you'll be nice to them, and perhaps someone will be driven back to your business in the future because of the fact that you've recommended their brand now.
Yeah, I think like that. Marketers, they ruin everything. So when Pinterest, Instagram, etc., all of those brands, when they start launching their ads, then people are not ready, and we can play with all those tools nicely, but what happens with emails? When marketers start sending too much emails, the open rates goes down. Banner ads, once everyone gets tired from the banner ads, the click-through rates goes down. So I think we just need to play with new products and trying to build our campaigns on top of new tools. So Social Engage, I think it's one of the tools that I would engage everyone to look at.
That's interesting. I think I'm on the website at the moment, and it's actually socialengage.org. Is that correct?
Oh yeah. Could be.
Oh,
Sorry about
okay.
that.
Good stuff. Well, let's move on to.
The this or that round.
So that's the quick response round. 10 quick questions, just 2 rows. Try not to think about the answer too much, and you're only allowed to say the word both on 1 occasion. Ready to go?
Yep.
Email or Twitter?
Twitter.
Audio or video?
Video.
Affiliates or display advertising?
Affiliates.
Facebook or Google+?
Facebook.
Online press releases or one-on-one relations?
One-on-one relations.
Paid search or SEO?
Paid search.
Email contact form or telephone number?
Email.
Website or app?
Website.
Social subscriber or email subscriber?
Social subscriber.
And local marketing or global marketing?
Local.
That could be your both if you want.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, if you apply both, then it will be easy. You know, I'm just trying to compare right now, like different options, what I would, choose.
So I'm trying to think the one that you struggled with probably the most apart from that was maybe paid search or SEO?
Yeah, I mean, again, for me, it depends on the niche. So sometimes I'm getting clients that want to, they listen on all of those conferences, they talk about the SEO and stuff like that, but if I'm coming for keyword research for them and I see that the traffic for those keywords that probably relevant to them is not that high, I can tell them, guys, you can spend a lot of money right now into the content marketing, link building and stuff like that. But if you just put the same money into the paid ads, you'll just get this traffic. So it depends on the niche. If you have a very specific product and you don't see much traffic for the keywords, stuff like that, then probably paid ads will be even cheaper for you. Because like SEO is like long-term run, and if the specific keywords just drive you 20 users a month, I don't think you have to go with SEO. But probably I would not be the first one, but you have to look all the way around. So right now, what I'm trying to do for my clients is we get a specific, campaign when we a little bit have like tactics on the AdWords, a little bit on the Facebook, a little bit on the SEO. So we're trying to organize all of those channels because it's in those days the consumer need to see you all the way in all those places before they actually click on some of your stuff.
Before they really trust you as a brand.
Yeah.
And also, if you're focusing on e-commerce, then paid search is obviously the quicker way to test the conversion rates on a keyword phrase. And if you find that it is converting and bringing you decent traffic, then I suppose you can afford to focus on SEO then, hopefully build up your ranking and perhaps test turning off your paid advertising once you start ranking for SEO.
Right now, again, maybe SEO expert would not agree with me, but in my opinion right now, SEO in the old-fashioned way, like with link building, is actually dying. And in my opinion, right now, when initially like 20% of our efforts was with on-page optimization and 80% was with off-page. Right now, I think Google drives it vice versa. Like 80% of the SEO right now is the on-page optimization, and 20% is the off-page.
I think that Google like businesses to think that link building is dying, certainly, because they don't want to give any data. They want to also ban certain businesses from their search results to actually send out warning signals that if you don't comply to their ways of doing things, then you may not be allowed to actually play the Google game. Search engine optimization in its literal meaning, means obviously just getting a web page ranking within the results of a search engine and not necessarily link building or doing any specific tactic in order to achieve that. I would also like to give the example of click here as well. If you search Google for the phrase click here, the #1 result for that phrase is the Adobe Acrobat Reader download page, and on nowhere on that page whatsoever it says click here. Nowhere in the page title, the description, the page content. The only obvious place that it says that text is within links pointing to that page, saying something like,
Right.
download this piece of software. So, obviously there are loads of more elements to Google's algorithm now than there used to be, and people are being silly if they just focus on link building. Certainly, I mean, links should come as a result of quality content and engagement, and that's a better longer term strategy.
I mean, exactly. I mean, when we are talking about the link building right now, I'm not right now. Again, maybe that's my own practice, but when I'm working with retailers and we are consider like SEO, for me, the good link is the link that actually get like a relevant traffic. So when we're trying about the link building, first we're doing some research of like good websites with our own target audience, and then we're trying to post some expertise advice or some sort of deals on that site. And in my opinion, going forward, Google will look through the links as the source of the referral traffic, and then it will look for then Google will consider that link as a great one for your business, and we'll keep that and we'll keep using that link, keep calculating this link as one of the factors for the ranking.
Yeah, I mean it's part of the process. It's if you just focus on that, then you're not going to be doing the best thing for your business from a long-term perspective. But let's move on to
the $10,000 question.
So if I was to give you $10,000 and you had to spend it over the next few days on a single thing to grow your business, what would you spend it on, and how would you measure success?
For my personal business, I would probably get it into my team, into my people, just to get some more educational classes with whatever industry we want to grow with. So, I mean, education, I think it's the first thing that you have to spend.
Now, unfortunately, it looks as though Paul's video's cut out a little bit here. Hopefully we'll get him back. That's the nature of doing live events. Sometimes the internet connection isn't that speedy. Can you hear me, Paul? Of course, this episode will also be available on audio. You can see it, hear it, on digitalmarketingradio.com, episode number 94 it is. So if it's an audio-only version that you're listening to, you won't be listening to me saying. So Paul, you can hear me now, can you? Hello, Paul, you can hear me? So for video watchers, I'm going to carry on here. This is an extra little bit you're getting. For the audio version, I'm not going to include this part here. So if you like a clean, nicely worked interview, then you can listen to the audio-only version. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't look as if we're going to get Paul back here. So what I may do is leave the video fairly soon if Paul doesn't come back. I will probably call him back and do the end of the interview and add that to the audio part of the podcast, the beauty of doing live interviews. So I think the appropriate thing to do is actually say that Paul's offered a lot of great content there, and I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm here.
You're
Sorry.
back. Okay, I was just about to say goodbye to um, our watchers because what I'm doing obviously is recording this on audio and also live in video here, and so I was going to suggest that I was going to call you back and edit the audio and do a nice clean audio version, and then I was just chatting to the video watchers here with hoping that you would come back. So you're back. I guess you were in the middle of actually giving the answer to that $10,000, and I think you just cut off as you were suggesting if you were talking about education, you would invest in. Would you like to carry on what you were saying there?
Yeah. So basically, I would invest into my people. I mean, just to get more expertise with the new techniques, try something new stuff. So, for example, what I'm trying right now is just to get an access to better advertisement with the Pinterest and the Instagram, so we can test it beforehand, just to get a feeling. And so, in my opinion, we need to be like the first one with the new opportunities that appear in front of us as marketers. And just to get there and test it before everyone else do that, that's very important.
Okay, so keep on learning new things and testing new things. You wouldn't spend the money on something necessarily that you know exists and converts well already. You would keep on testing new opportunities because perhaps those new opportunities where people aren't actively on at the moment may bring you the highest return for your investment.
Well, again, I mean, if you ask me how I spent $10,000 for my own clients, that will be maybe like a different.
Yeah.
I would spend if you give me the 10,000 K into my own business. That's probably like a little bit different story here. If I would be a business and I would see the channel that converts right, and I want to push some more money into that, obviously, I mean, I would if I see that paid ads convert better and brings me more revenue, I would spend 10,000 with the ads. But again, if I'm the business on the very early stages, we'll have to carefully select the channel that you want to try on. So if you need like immediate results, go with Google Ads. If you need like long term, go with SEO. If you need like a good strategy with a social, like with a Facebook, and you are ready to wait for 3 to 6 months, just try the Facebook. And it depends on the business, obviously.
Okay, yeah. So, but for other businesses, generally you'd go for mediums that you knew were likely to convert better. But for your own business at the moment, you'd be more likely to take risks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have cash flow to be honest.
Good position to be
With the
in.
Mage Cloud, yeah.
Okay, well, just finishing off with.
My number one takeaway.
So you've offered a lot of great advice in our conversation, but can you distill that down to just one takeaway? So what's the one most important step that our listeners need to take away and implement in their own businesses?
Do you mean like a marketing advice
Well,
or?
possibly in relation to e-commerce. We were talking a lot about Magento earlier on.
Mhm.
So in relation to that, if someone's perhaps considering going for that or making the decision to go with Magento, what would you say are the first, step or two that are the most important considerations to look at after they've made that decision?
Well, for the Magento, I mean, I don't want to climb about the Mage Cloud, which is a great way to start with Magento. You have to consider a few things when you choose any kind of e-commerce platform. Make sure that when you have a template you use, it's like mobile friendly. Try not to spend much time and much budget with development. So there is always a way to get something, at your cost and very easy. Sometimes you can even do this for yourself. So my maybe takeaway will be like that. Try to budget your investment with 20% of investment go into the backend development and 80% go into the smart marketing. So whatever budget you have, just think over. If you decided to use Magento, that's a great choice. That's, I can bid it. It's a great choice. It's a great scalable platform. Just make sure that you start slowly, and most of the budget goes into the marketing.
Okay, that's great advice.
Spend time with researching of your audience. Spend time with analyzing where they are. Don't be afraid to stay with the Twitter at night and search for what people are talking about your products. Join the conversation. Do a lot of things your own. I mean, you don't have to get to agency from the day one. A lot of things you can do on your own, and it's very smart, and you will know your customer much better.
Because a lot of businesses are probably caught in the trap of only having a limited budget. Say they're a small business and maybe they've got $20,000 or something like that. A lot of businesses would invest the majority of that in perhaps building a new website that looks great and then launch it online and then have nothing left to actually drive traffic at the site. So I like your piece of advice there to actually spend the majority of your budget on actually driving traffic to your site.
That's exactly what happens. I mean, for all those years, we've built maybe like 200 websites, e-commerce businesses, and a lot of those businesses, they are dying for only one reason, because the business owner have no idea how to drive the traffic. So that's the common problem, and that's something that we are trying to fix right now with Mage Cloud.
Great. Okay. Well, I reckon that takes us to the end of our discussion today. So thank you so much for your time and your advice there. What's the best way for our audience to find out more about you and what you do?
I mean, you mean how they reach me?
Yes. Yeah. Is it just magecloud.net?
Yeah, it could be magecloud.net, or I'm open at my Facebook page, Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Paul RYAZANOV. You can find me at paul.ryazanov@gmail.com as well. So it's pretty easy. If you just Google for Paul RYAZANOV, you will see my face come up. Yeah.
Great, and I'll link to your Mage Cloud website, of course, from the digitalmarketingradio.com show notes. So if anyone's listening to it and wants to go to it directly, it's just magecloud.net. So there we go. So thanks again for joining us, Paul.
Thank you so much.
Great. Okay. Well, and thank you, listener. We will see you next time on.
My number one
Goodbye.
takeaway.
We'll see you next time on. That's the button I meant to press. Bye bye for now.